Spirit of life. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots, hold me close. Wings, set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. My name is John Walther. My wife Dara and I have joined the congregation here recently, and we're just thoroughly enjoying all the love and warmth that we receive from you all. So I wanted to share with you something that's been very important in my path, my spiritual path, and that is A Course in Miracles. As the title implies, the Course is a teaching device. And it's basically a teaching device that we invite Spirit to come into our life and to instruct us as we move along our path. Physically, it consists of 3 books. There's a text, which is 669 pages long. There's a workbook that's 488 pages, and there's a manual for teachers, which is 92 pages. And that may give you a little insight into why I've been studying it so long. The text is primarily theoretical. It explains the basis for the course and is very mind-centered. The workbook, on the other hand, is 365 individual lessons, one for each day, and that does not connotate that you have to do one each day. That's the way it happens to be. And the workbook is practical application. The workbook doesn't ask you to understand the theory, doesn't ask you to absolutely believe in it. All it asks you to do is to do the lessons and see what change that makes in your mind, in your spirit. So most people will work with the workbook, and it's a much easier way to do the course. Some of the ideas in the workbook you'll find hard to believe. Others may seem quite startling. But again, as I stated, all it asks is that you do the lessons and see what difference that makes on you. The manual for teachers is in a question and answer form, and it tries to provide answers to some of the more likely questions that the student may ask. The course ends, spoiler, I'll give you the end of the book. It ends with, the course is a beginning, not an end. No more specific lessons are assigned, for there is no more need for them. Henceforth, hear the voice for God, and He will direct your efforts, telling you exactly what to do, how to direct your mind, and when to come to Him in silence, asking for His sure direction and His certain word. So what the course is really attempting to do is to bring you to a point where you can be open to Spirit to give you answers in this life. What I'd like to do is I'd like to kind of do this in three parts. I'd like to go a little more into the technicals of the course, then speak to you a little bit about how it's worked in my life, and then if we still have time, go into a practical example of its teaching. So the course is going to work with a couple different things. It's going to work with knowledge, it's going to work with perception, it's going to work with ego, it's going to work with spirit, and it's going to work with love, and it's going to work, most importantly, with choice. I'd like to read to you from Accept This Gift, this selections from A Course in Miracles about choice. Deceive yourself no longer that you are helpless in the face of what is done to you. Acknowledge but that you have been mistaken, and all effects of your mistakes will disappear. If you choose to see yourself as unloving, you will not be happy. You are condemning yourself and must therefore regard yourself as inadequate. Trials are but lessons that you failed to learn, presented once again. So where you made a faulty choice before, you now can make a better one, and thus escape all pain that what you chose before has brought you. It is still up to you to choose, to join with truth or with illusion. But remember that to choose one is to let go of the other. Pain is illusion, joy, reality. Pain is but sleep, joy is awakening. Pain is deception, joy alone is truth. And so again, we make the only choice that ever can be made. We choose between illusions and the truth, or pain and joy, or hell and heaven. So the Course is trying to work with us in our choices. You cannot not choose. Even not choosing is a choice. We have built into us a thing called ego. And ego is not a really bad thing. We use the ego every day. It started back when we first were on this earth, and that when we would see a saber-toothed tiger, and ego would release some messages to the mind, and the mind would get us ready for fight or flight. Today, it keeps us from walking out in front of a car, it keeps us from walking off a cliff, keeps us from putting our hand in a fire. So it is very useful. However, when it comes to relationships, not so much. So, again, A Course is working with our relationships with each other, our relationships with our Creator. Knowledge. Knowledge is truth under one law, the law of love, or the law of God. Truth is unalterable, eternal, and unambiguous. It can be unrecognized, but it cannot be changed. On the other hand, we have perception. Perception is the world of the ego. We get these light and colors that come into our eye and in the rods and cones of our eye, and that sends some messages to our brain, and our brain digs back in our past history and says, I I know what that is. And that's what we call seeing. What the Course is talking with is to be able to see the difference between seeing and what the Course will refer to as vision. Vision being what Spirit would tell us is truth about a situation. In the world of the Course, sin is defined as a lack of love, and it's not something to be punished. It's an error to be corrected. In the world of perception, we love one another in order to get something ourselves. So that's a basic relationship as seen in the eyes of the ego. As seen in the eyes of Spirit, true love never asks for anything. It only gives. And it believes that truly having is in giving. Perception is a function of the body, and therefore it's limited by our awareness. It relies on our history, our past, in order to define what is happening to us in the moment. True vision, as the Course would see it, would be to open up to Spirit, to open up to all possibility. An example. If I have somebody who's really upset and they're raging at me, I would see that through the eyes of ego as that's an attack on me. And I would get ready to attack back in what I would call defending myself. And in all of this transaction, I'm going to see that this is really not my fault because I was attacked. So basically I'm saying I'm a victim, and I'm going to take care of that. As Spirit would have us see it, would be that our brother that is raging at us is reacting to some pain in their life, and they are requesting love. Now, the next is they made a choice, now I have a choice. And I can request love back, and we all know how that's going to escalate. Or if I truly can see that brother as requesting love, I can choose to extend love back to him. And that will have quite a different outcome. So as we walk along our path, what the Course is attempting to do is, first of all, to get us to be able to see that whatever we are witnessing, we are putting our perception on it, and getting us to be able to put that aside and to be able to listen to Spirit. If I have something that confronts me and is disturbing to me, rather than having ego set off my defense mechanisms, to be able to say, Spirit, show me a different way. Very simple. Not easy, but very simple. In fact, the entire Course, all those 1,000 pages, are very simple, but not easy. Because it's asking us to change what we've become accustomed to believing. That we are victims, that we can be attacked, that we can attack back, and that's justified. And this entire concept of how we live life is what this is all about. For my own story, I was raised and grew up in the Catholic Church, was very active in it up until, I guess I was probably in about 50. And at that point, I started to get this, I'm not going to call it a voice, let's just say a knowing in my head that would come to me and say, John, you'll be amazed. Everybody is going to be here with me. And that kind of went right at the root of, we're all born with original sin, and you need religion in order to be able to get rid of that, blah, 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 blah. That whole line started to unravel in my head. And I no longer could view it as that. And about that same time, I went to a presentation on A Course in Miracles, and that rang true to me. So to me, in my life, the way I view it is that in a large building, normally the elevator doesn't go all the way to the top. It'll go up part of the way, you'll get off of that elevator bank, you'll get on another one that will go up further. So to me, in leaving the religion that I grew up with, was like that first elevator. Thank you very much for getting me this far. I appreciate what you've taught me, but it's time for me to get off. And so I did. And at that same time, along came A Course in Miracles. I started to study that. I started to go to a non-denominational congregation that met on Sunday mornings. That was probably the closest thing that I've ever witnessed to here. Became very involved in that group, became co-facilitator of it, and that group was called Circle of Miracles, and it was loosely based on A Course in Miracles. So I've been pretty well steeped in Course in Miracles. One of the interesting things to me, and what really helped me with it, having been in a very doctrinal religion, was that A Course in Miracles very specifically says not the Course in Miracles, it says a Course in Miracles. And right in the beginning, it acknowledges that it is not the only way. And that was very comforting to me. And that it states that there are many, many ways, and they all lead to God or our Creator, and that's their purpose. And the one that is most comfortable for you is the one that makes the most sense to you to follow. So that was my transformation from a very doctrinal-based life to a life where, in essence, I was in daily communication with my Creator, and just what a lift that was to me, just like it took a weight off my shoulders. And so it's been a joyous journey since then. In studying the Course, we would, and obviously this morning I can't get into all of them, we just don't have enough time, but It's going to look at love versus fear. It's going to look at your free will of your mind to change. It's going to talk about that you can't create love, but all you can do is remove the barriers to it. It's going to talk about ego and spirit, you and your brother, seeing or vision. In most Western religions, we see ourselves as a body that happens to have a soul. And we have these brothers and sisters that are kind of scattered around that we have relationship with, and we have a God who's way out there. The way the Course perceives it is that we are spirit. We are a soul that happens to be in this body for a period of time. It's quite a different way to look at it. That would bring to the point of that we are all souls, we are all joined together, we are one not only with each other, but with our Creator, who the Course happens to call God. It was interesting to me, and I just, in preparing for this, it occurred to me that the Course talks about that we are all united, and that salvation will not be accomplished until all of us universally are being able to see each other as one. And it was like, okay, so we're all united and it's universal. And wow, I've heard those words someplace before. And that was just an interesting piece to me as I was preparing for this. No wonder I feel so comfortable here. One of the other point that the Course works with quite a bit is love. And I'd like to read to you from Emmanuel's book. It's a manual for living comfortably in the cosmos. Love. You will not exhaust the love in the universe if you were to absorb it from now until the end of time. Love is all that exists. Love is the universal communication. It is the energy that has created the universe and is keeping it going. God is love. All matter is formed by love. There is an organic love that speaks to everyone if they could but hear. Even a leaf holds together for love. So that's the objective of the Course. The Course is really, it's working on two levels. The first level is the big picture of getting us all to see that we are one with each other and we are one with our Creator. And that realization is what the Course calls salvation. And interestingly enough, in the Course perspective, that is already accomplished. The only problem is we don't see it. So again, the Course is working at removing these barriers. It's not creating anything. It's not creating love. It's not creating salvation. Those are already present. It's working at helping us to remove the barriers to us being able to see that and work with it. The other, and I'll call that the secondary level, is that from where we are now until we can accomplish that salvation, we have a path that we are walking. And the Course also helps us to be able to to walk that more peacefully and with more joy. So if I would go back to that where I said that someone was raging at me, and I can either see it as an attack or I can see it as a request for love. So again, it's my choice to choose between fear and love, to choose between having love requested of me or extending it. And the Course will keep asking this question of you: would you rather be happy, or would you rather be right? And it continually will ask you that question. And what that is attempting to do is to bring you to happiness and peace as you progress along this path. So, I wish you much happiness. I wish you much peace. And I thank you. Just a little advertisement here. On Wednesday evenings, there's a group of us who meets here at 7:30, and we help each other to understand the lessons in the course, and you all are welcome, very much so. Thank you.